It is Isaiah Aneni, and this is the Game Time Gazette, your favorite thing for all things sports. I'm happy to be back. Let's just get right into it. We are going to be diving into the college men's and women's brackets, the remaining Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, and then the final. So we're going to start off with the women's side of the bracket. To just give a preface on this, it's been a very exciting tournament, one of the best, women tournaments of all time. Obviously, the game is growing for women, and you're seeing it with the talent and the competition that has come from this March Madness tournament. You hear that the women's side is getting more love than the men's side this year. I don't necessarily think that's true. But I love the confidence from the women's side. I love the confidence from the Caitlin Clarks, and say that you're doing better than the men. Say all of that, because you guys should be, or you guys should at least be banging out with them. So I liked it. I've loved this tournament. So we're gonna start out with Regional 1. The Sweet 16 starts over on March 29th, so we're looking in 2 days on Friday. Well, we're looking to start up again. The men's is starting up tomorrow. That's why I'm making this video up today. For the first 2 rounds, I got some crazy upsets. I got Duquesne's, not too crazy. Yale was the craziest one, predicted right here on the Game Time Gazette. Just had a feeling in my gut. Right here on Game Time Gazette, it was predicted. There was a few other ones. JMU, predicted by my co-host Nye Simmons. Thinking about, I think we had GCU, Grand Canyon University as well. Just think about those teams. And I just want to give my prediction before the day starts, or before we get back into all this March Madness. So we're starting off in the Sweet 16 Regional 1. So we got South Carolina up against Indiana. Indiana's had a great season. The Indiana Hoosiers had a great season. Mackenzie Holmes, Sarah Scalia, I believe that's how you say her name, Scalia, right? So Sarah Scalia, Mackenzie Holmes been leading the front for the Hoosiers. Just doing their best. The Hoosiers have a well-balanced offense with 5 players averaging double-digit points. Mackenzie Holmes is the most prolific scorer, while Sarah Scalia helps in multiple areas. Indiana was among the league leaders in field goal percentage and is a great 3-point shooting team. So obviously we know that they're offensive, right? We've seen that from the tournament as well. Their game up against, I believe they versed, I forget who the Hoosiers versed. It was a good first 2 games from them, though. Showed me a lot from them. They did. They're pretty good, big on the inside as well. Get the boards, get out, run on the space, pass the ball, just move the ball, keep the ball moving. And that's kind of their offensive philosophy. And then, shoot up those threes, averaging 80 points per game. Defending okay, relatively, averaging, opponents' points per game, 64. But they're going up against the best team in the nation for the women's side. Up against South Carolina, still undefeated, gonna remain undefeated. My pick is South Carolina over here with against the Hoosiers. You got Camila Cardoso. We all know who she is. Banked in that shot. Was it the ACC? No, what? SEC. It was the SEC. I think it was the SEC semifinals against Tennessee. Banked in that shot, and first 3 ever made. They just got it. I mean, if you need scoring from one area, they'll step up. You got Fueli. She's a great scorer as well. It's just such a balanced attack coming from South Carolina. They've really slapped up all their opponents, all the things they needed to do. They've done it. And 34-0. What else could you really say? They're legit. They're among the best shooting teams in the nation. There's only a few teams that compare to them defensively, talking about points per game. I mean, they allow only 55 points per game, their opponents, right? So 7-0 against top 20. They're undefeated, obviously. Number one team in the nation. Not too much to really say about it, but you got to give the Hoosiers respect. I'm not just going to gloss over the Hoosiers like the Hoosiers are going to be an easy threat. Probably for South Carolina, this probably might be a 10, 15-point game, but the Hoosiers will get their chances in the game. And maybe if they're able to just get a little bit of a stretch there, a little bit of a stretch here defensively, not just offensively, maybe they'll be able to get a favorable result for them. You know, an upset that would shock everybody, honestly, at this point, the way South Carolina has been playing. Then you got Oregon and Notre Dame, Oregon State and Notre Dame. Hannah Hidalgo, ACC Rookie of the Year, something like that, all rookie team for the nation, this and that. She was 22 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, one of the best players in the nation. I feel like on the first day of women's college basketball, I came to school. I had to do something for work, and like I was in this bar, they call it Isaac's. It's like the students hub. I was in Isaac's, and then they had the first game on. I don't know who Notre Dame was playing, but Notre Dame was playing, and they had, Hannah Hidalgo on the screen, and I'm like, yo, this girl can ball. This girl can ball. And as a rookie, obviously all of this, all of that, really, really like the fighting Irish. They've had a nice season thanks to their high-octane offense led by Hannah Hidalgo. Notre Dame is a strong team around the basket, with adequate long distance shooting, one of the best margins per game in the nation, at the free throw line, and it's just key. It's key in close games, things as such. Obviously Oregon State has been, Oregon State's had a great season as well. And this matchup as well, the number 2 and 3 seed and the women's side of the bracket, it's a close matchup. So it's not one that, if Notre Dame has a spread, if Oregon State has a spread of, let's say 4 or higher, take Oregon State's spread. It's going to be a close game. Number 2 seeds are 30 and 27 against number 3 seeds. Number 3 seeds have taken the 6 of the last 8 matchups against, including 2 wins from number 3 LSU versus number 2 seeds in their run to the title in 2023 champs. Number 3 LSU defeated number 2 Iowa. Well, I still don't. I'm not gonna lie. I still don't see Oregon State winning this game. Got Hannah Hidalgo and Sonaya Kitron. Even though, honestly, Oregon State could really do a thing. They're strong offensive team. Defensively is where they really pick their poison. Only allowing under 60 points per game for their opponents. But I just really love the way that Notre Dame has played ball this season. And I think that they continue to play ball like that in this Sweet 16 and move on to the round of 8, Elite 8. All right, we're moving on to, let's go Regional 2. Iowa against Colorado. The one player that everybody watches in college basketball, one player that everybody knows from women's basketball in general, Caitlin Clark. She did her thing against West Virginia. A lot of controversy at the end there, but I ultimately think they would have gotten it done, even though West Virginia was pushing. They were pushing. West Virginia could have done it. The Hawkeyes made many headlines thanks to Caitlin Clark. She broke another record. It's not a one-person team, though. Iowa has a lot of legit scorers. They share the ball well. They're also careful with the, basketball. They don't turn over the ball a lot. They're smart with their shot taking. That's why they have a high field goal percentage, high 3-point percentage, and a high free throw percentage. Defensively, they don't get too many blocks, don't get too many steals, but they're up there, and they'll play the defense. They're mediocre in shooting percentage and all of that. Looking at the shooting percentages, I'm looking at the numbers. That's like 58%. It could be much better, and they allow a lot of points as well. 71 points per game, could be a lot better, but they score a lot. 92 points per game. I don't think there's an offense in the nation in the women's side that compares to Iowa Hawkeyes in their offense, right? So we're looking at a team that, my goodness, on the women's side, number 1 seeds are 33-3 against 5 seeds all time. The most recent upset came in 2013 when Louisville defeated Baylor by 1. Jeez Louise. The average point differential in this matchup is plus 17. So take Iowa's Hawkeyes spread, it's looking like. Jeez Louise. And the Hawkeyes have been playing great basketball. Not to say anything in Colorado, because Colorado had The Buffaloes have had a great season. You know, they recruited well. I think the whole thing with Dion coming over there helped them out as well. But they recruited really well. Got Arenado Vonay, Jalen Sherrod. They've done a Mazza. You know, they made an instant splash by upsetting the defending champs LSU. You know, that was the first game of the season. They never went away. They're solid offensively. You know, led by Von Lee. You know, and honestly, you know, young as well. Listen, that I see them as a threat. You know, for coming years, see them as a great team to just have some fun with. I mean, now we'll have some fun here in the in Madness. Obviously, they came dancing, Sweet 16, so they danced. You know, they did a little boogie this year, but I think the boogie stops with the Hawkeyes. You know, just too much offense on this side on the ball. I'd be surprised if Colorado finds a way to stop the Hawkeyes. Even looking at their opponent's field goal percentage, opponent points per game, they haven't really played a team like the Hawkeyes. I mean, I guess you could say LSU, but LSU can't shoot like the Hawkeyes. But you have to give them props. They did beat LSU, beat them convincingly, 14 points as well. But Caitlin Clark's on the Hawkeyes, and I trust Caitlin Clark to make her way back to the Final Four in her last dance in March Madness. We got LSU against UCLA, the second game in Regional 2. And, Angel Reese, Anessa Moreau, Haley Van Leith, I think that's how you say her name, Van Leith. You know, got ballers over there, over in LSU. But UCLA has had a great season that has gone kind of, I mean, you got Caitlin Clark, you got LSU, you got South Carolina, you got even Stanford. Things that Stanford kind of did zags a little bit. You know, we're going to talk about the zags in a little bit. But UCLA has had a great season, had an amazing season. Lauren Betts and Charisma Osborne, they've balled out this season, both averaging 15 points per game, or Lauren Betts averaging 15, Shamira just under 15 points per game. You know, the Bruins, they have a well-balanced team. Their offense is tremendous, led by Lauren Betts and Shamira Osborne, as I said. You know, they can stuff the stat sheet. If there's a weakness, I mean, the three-point free throw percentage has been a weakness for most of these teams. You know, you read their scouting reports, you see their numbers, you see what they've done, you watch a little bit of their tapes, and some of these teams get to the line and they really be breaking it. But the game's growing. The women's game's growing for sure. I mean, it happens on the men's side as well. But yeah, honestly, the one thing I would say, though, that does make it seem like it's a different game, and this isn't on the knock, it's really the officiating. Honestly, I'm not even going to lie. The officiating in the women's game, I don't watch too much WNBA, so I can't say women's game. But women's college game, from what I watched past weekend, it's such a different game. Like, the calls are different. It's just like, what are we watching? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're wondering if you know the same type of basketball that they know. I think I was watching it on, I think they were trying to see if it was going to be a flagrant. They call it intentional fouls, right? Intentional fouls in college. And it was just like, it was an intentional foul. Not like it was flagrant. They do call it intentional, whatever, but it wasn't a flagrant foul. Like, to be able to give this foul flagrant, I think it was like, man, it was tied, score. I mean, the game was almost done, fourth quarter. So you foul in those situations, right? Every single basketball team to get the ball back. But then, you know, I think because they said, oh, she wasn't taking a play at the ball. She grabbed around her waist. That was a weird call. It didn't seem like basketball. And it took like 10 minutes for them to realize she was just fouling so they could get the ball back. I don't know what 10 minutes took. It's just, I don't know. Just thinking about how just different this game is. But let me not get sidetracked here. LSU. They play defensively. It's going to be a defensive slugfest as well. Both teams averaging or allowing under 65 points per game, under 63. If you want to be more specific, UCLA, 60 points per game. Great defensive team, great offensive team. Not as good as UCLA, but I mean, not as good as LSU. But they're a really great team. I feel like this is going to be a much closer game than a lot of people think, especially with what we've seen LSU do in these last few last few games. I feel like it's going to be a much closer games than most people think. But I do think that LSU has the pieces and has the wherewithal to be able to make it through. UCLA's had a great season, but I'd really be surprised if they're able to stop LSU here. LSU just got the guards, they got the forwards, they got the coach, they got everything. They got everything, and they're poised to make another Final Four run. Okay, going down to Regional 3, as we pick up a little bit more pace here, got Baylor against USC. Juju Watkins against Sarah Andrews. Juju Watkins, probably, if not the first, if you don't want to give her the best offensive player, she's definitely the second. There's nobody better than her other than Caitlin Clark that you can really argue, oh yeah, that's the best offensive player in the nation. Juju Watkins could score from anywhere on the floor, 3-level score, inside, outside. And really lead this USC team that wasn't, projected to do a lot. I mean, the men's side was projected to do more than the women's side, and the women's have done Amaza. They've really done Amaza. Mackenzie Forbes, really, that not backup, but that second option, right? And really been a great second option for the USC Trojans. They figured to make a deep run. I mean, they get the star freshman. Juju Watkins, you look at the other side, and it was Isaiah Collier, Bronny James, and different guys like that. And you expected those guys to be doing what the USC women are doing. But the USC women are doing it, right? The USC men did not play very good basketball this year. But no need to, shoot down somebody else to uplift the other. Because the USC women, even though you didn't expect them to do this, what they're doing it. They don't have many weaknesses. The shooting percentage could be better. Opponents could, occasionally do damage them from the outside, but they could take good care of the basketball. They have one of the best turnover rates in the nation. They're a great three-point shooting team, a great offensive team, balanced attack, balanced defense. Average, they only allow 61 points per game, 75 points per game is what they score as well. This Baylor team, though, strong Baylor team. Seen this Baylor team get a really big win this last Sunday against Virginia Tech Huskies. And the Hokies. Did I say Huskies? The Hokies. Yeah, the Hokies. The Hokies were undefeated at home this season, 18-0 or something, 30 or something, I don't know. But Baylor beat them. The Bears beat them. And it was really led by, a great game from Sarah Andrews. She's just a baller. She really is a baller. She's one of those pieces. Yeah, March Madness, come up, boop, 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 start balling, and she did again there. And again, yeah, Baylor, same kind of thing that USC got. Obviously don't got a prolific scorer like Juju Watkins, which could give you 50. But they do got a balanced offense, do got a balanced defense. Both of these teams are very, very similar. Very, very similar. And for those that don't watch any women's college basketball, that's why I got you. I'm here. You want to make any bets, you want to do anything of that, I'm here for you. I'm telling you, even the ones that have upset alerts, the ones that you should be watching, the ones that are just close, the ones that, hey, Vegas isn't saying this is close, but the women's side of the bracket, I don't know if a lot of you guys have been noticing, women's side of the bracket, there's been a lot more money to be made. I made money on Iowa State before they lost to Stanford, and then I made money, Baylor was underdog against Virginia Tech. Money was made, you know what I'm saying? It's just you got to be able to come on the Game Time Gazette, and I'll get you guys ready and straighten out. Even though, Baylor had a great round of 32. I really love this USC team and what they've been able to do. But I'm really, really seeing an upset here. This Baylor team, they've been picking up steam. Even though, number one seeds have been 33-3 against 1-5, something like that. I really don't, I don't see, I'm joking. I'm joking. I chose USC. Just because of their scoring, they're able to on a close game, Juju Watkins be able to get to the line. Not only her, but her ball movement and her playmaking just sets them apart. It just sets them apart. But I, preface that joke that I said earlier about Baylor, whatever, with that I wouldn't be surprised if they do take the dub. I would not be surprised if that happens. Baylor's a great team, and they really could do a Mazda here. Okay, second game of the Regional 3, one of my favorite games, Duke against UConn, because I got one of my favorite players, Paige Buckets. You guys know him from high school, and Paige Buckets, bro. Paige Buckets coming on. That was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark. Paige Buckets. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I got UConn. It's easy to come with the historic. UConn's like Duke or NC, North Carolina on the next side. You know what I'm saying? On the men's side. These guys have some. On the women's side, these guys are basketball royalty. UConn Huskies, bro. When they had Brianna Stewart, they won 4 times in a row. There was a point where they won like 40, 60 something games in a row. Paige Buckets was injured last year. She wasn't able to come dancing. But she came dancing this year. And she high stepping. And I really got them moving on. I mean, this UConn team, I got them doing Mazas this year. They are scoring. You got scoring from everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. But you can't score against them like that, bro. They only allow 56 points per game. One of the best defensive teams in the nation, much less talk about offensive teams. We're talking about a team that has an Aaliyah Edwards as well. You're talking about players, not just Paige Buckets. You're talking about players coming off as well, starters, bench players, ballers. That's what the UConn Huskies bring to you. For both sides, UConn's looking real strong. I can't lie about that. Has it been ever a year where the women and men's team both won at the same time? Pretty strong chance of doing that this year. Bucket. Alrighty. And then on the Regional 4, we got Texas and Gonzaga. That's going to be a good game. You got Brian Maxwell. What are the Gonzaga? There's some sisters that I gotta highlight that I was watching this weekend. They ballers. You know what I'm saying? It's like they know how to turn up when you need them to turn up. They know how to turn up. Yeah, so they beat Utah. I was watching that game. That was supposed to be a close game, -1.5 spread. But I not that I accidentally bet Gonzaga, because I knew they were a good team. But I thought Paige Buckets, UConn was Gonzaga for the splittest of seconds. I don't know why. Still a good decision though. But yeah, Chung K. Lee and then Chung K. Lin. Sisters, shooters. She had Chung K. Lee had 21 points, 3 field goals, and 3 3-pointers, and Chung K. Lin had 14 points, 4 3-pointers, and it was like both of them were going off. Like they were going off. I like this Gonzaga team. Watching that game, Utah, they didn't do as well as you expected them to. You expected them to pick up steam a little easier, a little quicker. But they, this UConn team, though, I really do like what they got going for themselves in this tournament. No, UConn. Gonzaga. I'm sorry. Gonzaga got shooting, and they could defend. Not only, I highlighted the 2 sisters, the Trey Lee sisters, right? Or K Lee sisters, I'm sorry. The Chung sisters, right? You look at them, you got Yvonne Ejem, you got Brianne Maxwell, and Ejem. Those are their cogs to their machine. Even you got the KD sisters, whatever. Maxwell and Ejem on the inside getting buckets. buckets after buckets after buckets after buckets. But, and at the end of the day, I like their shooting and I like the way they're able to defend the ball. Even though this Texas team has done just a maza, offensive machine. They're one of the best teams in the nation. Offensively, they don't take too many threes, and they got big bodies. They got big bodies on the inside to dominate. But, even though defensively, they also got so strong defensive on the inside. I really, really, really love what the Zags have been able to do in this tournament. I think that they continue dancing. Then you got NC State against Stanford. Oh, it's going to be one of them ones. It's going to be probably the closest game of all of them. I feel like, I don't know why. I feel like this is going to be the closest game out of all of them. I really don't know why. But just when you look at, how they match up with each other, offensively really close, defensively just like right there, both of them neck and neck, man, neck and neck. They do all these things together. They do, everything that they do well. They complement each other. I don't know how to say it, the best, but they do so much things similarly well, where it's like, you don't know where to give them an edge, which one of these teams to give them an edge. You got the Stanford Cardinals. They're well-oiled machine defensively, suffocate. They don't get much, as much national attention as Iowa, as LSU, or as even the UConn Huskies. But even South Carolina, but this is a championship caliber team, with pinpoint shooting, Cameron Brink, player of the year caliber player. Kiki Ira-Finn, caliber year. She can ball. She's a player of the year type of player as well. Both average double-doubles this season and make for one of the best 1-2 punches in the nation. The one thing that you would say, these guys, you could shoot against them. You could shoot against any team. Just got to get the threes down, right? So for NC State, let's see if they get the threes down. They're solid from top to bottom. They have a legitimate chance to make a deep tournament run, which they already did, but could make it even deeper. Wolfpack does a great job limiting turnover rate. The strong rebounding team, strong defensive team. But I just don't see the wherewithal for them to be able to do what they need to do to get past the Stanford, Stanford and Cameron Brink, and what she's been doing in this tournament. With Cameron Brink, as I feel like this is her last year, it's on Stanford as well. Gonna go out on a great note. Gonna stay Regional 4, Elite 8. I got Gonzaga versus Stanford, and I got Stanford taking, again, the same reasons that I just pointed out. Stanford's well-oiled machine, championship caliber team that will be in the Final Four this year against the South Carolina. Because on the other side, Notre Dame against South Carolina, both of these teams already played against each other this year, and South Carolina did their damage. They did their things. I don't see South Carolina losing before the Final Four, simply because of how good they've been playing all season. We'll talk about well-oiled machine. South Carolina against Stanford. And then on the other side, I got Iowa versus LSU. I got Iowa taking it just like last year. LSU beat Iowa. Sorry, not like last year. LSU beat Iowa. But I really do feel like this is the year for a repeat and a revenge Pete. And, I feel like Caitlin Clark takes it this time. I wouldn't be surprised if LSU does win, though, and Joe Reese and Haley Van Lint and all of those girls. But, I feel like Iowa got the pieces, they got the shooting, they got the defending, and they're just poised to make that second run again. Caitlin Clark's just broken so many records, it's hard to bet against her. You got USC against UConn on the other side, and even though you love what USC does and all this and that, I love UConn. I love their history. I love Paige buckets, and I don't think that the USC can defend them. They won't be able to defend UConn. They won't. And I feel like Paige buckets and the UConn Huskies find a way to stop Juju. All right, Final Four, you got Iowa versus UConn, and you got South Carolina versus Stanford. I'm not going to lie. I am not gonna lie. I would not be surprised if UConn makes this Final Four. I mean, if UConn makes the final. But I do got them. I do got them going. I got Paige Buckets. You know, even though you got Caitlin Clark on the other side, I said it. Paige Buckets was the original Caitlin Clark, and she's gonna show that here this March Madness. You know, just the way she's able to play, make, and score the basketball. It's like one of the better scorers in college basketball and women's basketball, period. And you know, I feel like this is her coming out party, her first, you know, March Madness, really dancing. I believe it's her first March Madness. I'm not sure. I don't know. But she was injured last year. So it's like, yeah, she's going to come out dancing. And I feel like against Iowa, points to be proven. And then I got South Carolina beating Stanford. Again, I just don't. You got Cameron Brink, all of that on the other side. But I just don't see anybody beating South Carolina this year. Preface that by saying we're going to UConn, South Carolina final. Guess who I have winning? And I just, you know, I love Paige Buckets. I love UConn Huskies. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. And, of course, at this time as well, it'd probably be like, oh, of course, they finally lose a game in the final. But I got South Carolina taking it all, finishing off a perfect season. They got all the pieces. They're really strong basketball team, offensively, defensively. They tick all the boxes. They really have to play their bad game. You know, their B, probably C+ game to lose, and I don't see them doing that. So I got the South Carolina Gamecocks winning the women's national championship. All right, let's quickly move on to the men's side of the bracket. Yeah, I know I went in there with a little bit with the women's, but I really wanted to give you guys, you know, all the looks and everything. Yeah. Or you know what? I'm gonna keep this fun. And I'm gonna keep this fun for me, because I will just be talking women's. I'll keep you guys suspended. I got the men's side of the bracket. I promise you I got the men's side of the bracket. All right? You guys just got to trust me. Gotta trust me. I definitely got it. I'm looking at the time now and I'm like, hey, you guys still listening? If you are still listening though, give me a review. Give me a comment. Give me... You know, tell me what you think of my bracket. Tell me what you think of my remainder. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me, you know, your thoughts on this episode. Tell me your thoughts on the Game Time Gazette. And, you know, I love to hear your review. I love to hear your opinion. It's been another wonderful day talking with you guys, talking some sports, talking basketball. Love it. Hope you guys make some money off these picks. Hey, I hope I'm right. I hope this is the, you know, series of events. I laid it out, you know, very game by game as well, analysis by analysis. So you're not just giving out, oh, Paige Bucher's here, oh, Iowa State and Caitlin Clark, right? So, you know, obviously play safely, play to win. It's been your host, Isaiah Aneni. Remember, Jesus loves you. Don't ever forget that. Always remember. And yeah, tell your loved ones you love them as well. Don't know. You know, this is a fickle world. It's a fickle life. Let's live it happily. And yeah, let's make the world a better place. Do something to make the world a better place. Tell someone hello, or I don't know, smile at them when you see them today. They'll feel better. Alrighty. It's been your host, Isaiah Aneni. It's been the Game Time Gazette. Ooh, let me load it up. Where are we loading it up?